I'll always start with a very quick recap of what we discussed last time, just to ground ourselves in what we were talking about, and then build on that. So we were discussing really the root of the problem of concentration and presence. What is the obstacle? What is the problem that we face? And we said that it really comes down to a concentration of consciousness in our heads, and that really leading to a situation where we get excessive thoughts. Okay, and then we introduced. Actually, I have a slide I'll share with you guys. Let's see if I can get this to work. Oh, Jassim, you haven't enabled me. Are we enabled now? Okay. So let me see. Can you see my screen okay? Is it full screen?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, great. All right, so this slide hopefully is like a summary of what we discussed, okay? So we introduced the idea of bodily attention in contrast to the mental attention that we're accustomed to, which comes from this concentration in the head and the thinking mind. And mental attention is very weak, it's very difficult to sustain it. And so we're shifting the attention to bodily attention. We explored that a little bit. And what we're saying is that, look, it takes time to practice developing this bodily attention and being able to maintain and hold it. But that's a skill that can be learned. And when it's learned, it's much more effective than the mental attention. So it can be sustained for much longer. And I have a couple of images to show, which I think might help to kind of summarize it or visualize it. You know, on the left, you have this mental attention. You know, people think I have to concentrate, and they kind of, you know, focus their minds in their head. And in fact, what we need to do is more what you see on the right side, which is shifting the attention through the entire body. Okay, so we talked about that. We also talked about how this is really, just to emphasize, a stepping stone. Okay, this is a stepping stone. It's not the final destination. We talked about the three dimensions of our being, the body, the mind, or what's called the qalb, but then there's the ruh. And ultimately, our destination is the ruh, because that is the essence of our being. And that's where we will eventually reach. But in practice, it's very difficult to get there to the ruh directly and experience the work directly. So this is a technique to do it in stages. It makes it easier to be achieved. Okay, so that's the overall kind of summary of what we discussed. And what I want to also mention on this point is that, sorry, let me get this back on again. That overall, before we go deeper now into concentration and presence, overall, one way to think about all of this is that there are basically three ways of knowing anything, okay? There's thinking and believing, right? Something you've heard and you accept it, that's belief. The second type is thinking, rationalizing, okay? To understand and convince yourself through a logical process. That's another way of knowing. And the third way of knowing something is to experience it directly for yourself, okay? And the examples they usually give for this kind of thing is the example of fire, okay? So someone you may bump into someone who tells you, oh, did you hear in this place far away, there is a big fire, okay? There's a big fire over there. So you hear this and you believe this person, you have good reason to believe him, And you believe, okay, there's a fire somewhere over there. That's one level of knowing. Then what happens if you approach the fire and you start to see some smoke in the distance? You can start to deduce logically, okay, there's no smoke without fire. There must be a fire there. I'm even more convinced now that there's a fire. I haven't just heard it. I've seen some evidence that convinces me there's a fire. And then there's the experiencing part where you come even closer. And now not only do you see the smoke, but you see the flames of the fire. And on top of that, you feel the heat of the fire. And if you touch it, you will know without any doubt that there's fire here. So in Islamic language, we refer to these levels as ilm al-yaqeen, ayn al-yaqeen, and the highest level being haqq al-yaqeen. Okay, haqq al-yaqeen is something that you will know through full direct experience yourself. It goes beyond any other level of knowing. And our relationship with Allah should reach that level. Allah should not remain an idea or something you believe in, or something that you've logically concluded and you hold on to that as a proof for yourself. It needs to become a living reality for you that you experience directly. And this is why in this approach, we are really fully integrating our whole being, right? It's not just a mental process. Salah is not just a mental process, okay? It's not even just what you might sort of call a spiritual process. It's a full being process that goes to all three levels of being, okay? So that's why we are integrating all of these dimensions of our reality. All right, so with that, we go deeper into concentration and presence, and we'll learn some additional techniques and exercises to help us to deepen our skill set to be able to achieve this hudur, this presence, systematically. Not just sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't, systematically, okay? And I mentioned this as training, type of training. So I think it's also useful, and we had a question about this last time. Everything we're talking about right now is the training outside of Salah. I mean, we haven't even got to Salah yet, okay? So think of this as if you're an athlete training for a big event, okay? An athletic event, or a football professional getting ready for a championship, or someone climbing a mountain, Mount Everest. He's going to train to climb Mount Everest, okay? There's three things we're going to do. One is just general training. You have to get yourself in the right shape to be ready to enter into this event. Okay, general training. What are you going to do? You're going to go to the gym. You're going to develop different types of muscles. That's a full-time job, and it will take a long time to do, and you have to maintain it all the time. That's one thing you will do. In fact, that's what we're doing right now in these techniques that we're learning. The other thing you'll do is, before the game, the big event that you're going to do, or the mountain climb, you will do some warm-up, right? Taskhin, al-Arabi, right? You're going to do some warm-up before embarking on or entering the event itself. That's another thing. And then the third step is the actual execution of the plan, okay, of conducting yourself in the event itself, okay? So training, warm-up, execution. And right now we're still in the training phase, okay? We're just learning how to develop these muscles, get ourselves in the right condition to be able to perform at the highest level in the event when we come to it, okay? So with that, we learned some basics of, okay, how do I shift my attention to the body? And different ways to do that, feeling different parts of the body, in like hands, doing it with eyes open and closed. We talked about that. We'll go deeper into that. But for now, the one that I want to discuss is another technique or exercise. And that, if I share my screen again, I've got that summarized here on another slide, is breath meditation. Okay, so silent breath attention. And this is a very powerful and very necessary, I would say, skill that we need to develop to be really fit for purpose. Now, what's the objective and why are we doing it? It's kind of summarized here. The objective is to connect ourselves with the breath continuously, okay, on a constant basis, to develop a connection with our own breathing, okay? And we will use it to calm ourselves and concentrate our attention, okay? Concentration of attention, being able to hold attention, whatever type of attention, mental or bodily, we're going to learn how to do that. The other thing that it allows us to do is to then start to interact with thoughts as objects, okay? And I'll explain this, but what we'll start to do is create a bit of a distance between us and our attention and thoughts, so that we're not caught in the stream of thoughts. We are able to see ourselves separate from the thought, observe it, and be able to control the attention, okay? The other thing that breath practice will help us to do is to enhance the sharpness, the sensitivity of our attention, how we pay attention. You'll be able to sharpen this, okay? And it's like a footballer being able to learn how to kick the ball exactly where he wants it to go, and having a very delicate way of directing that attention, okay? The other thing we'll do is also learn how to suspend reaction. What I mean by that is that what you'll notice about your own mind when you do this is that we have developed a very strong reflex to react to anything that's happening, anything going on, whether it's internal or external, before we even observe it and pay attention to it and assess it. Immediately there's a part of the mind that is reacting. I like this, I don't like this, I want this, I don't want this. There's a reaction function. And through the breath meditation, we learn to bring these much more into balance. Right now, the sensitivity of our attention is very weak. The reaction function is very strong, too much. So we're bringing these back into balance, and we do that with the breath. Now, you may ask yourself, and some people have experience with breath, and they've heard me talk a lot about it. So forgive me if this is a bit of a repeat for you, but for those who are not familiar, why the breath? Not everyone's used to hearing about breathing as a technique here. And there's a lot of reasons for it. I won't go into too much, but I've listed a couple here. You see, the way that we will do breath meditation, and this may be also kind of new to some, even those who have practiced it. For me, I learned breath meditation for a long time. I did it kind of the wrong way, or an ineffective way, and then learned a better way to do it. Okay, breath meditation, when done correctly, is actually a form of bodily attention. Okay, it is bodily attention. We're not visualizing the breath. We're not thinking about the breath. We're feeling the breath. Okay, and so it's a form of bodily attention. So that's why we're using it. And the way that we'll do it here is, there's many ways to do it, and you're welcome to explore, of course. But the way that I've found personally to be very, very effective is that you focus the attention around the nostrils, the area where the breath is coming in and out of the nose. Okay. And so you can see in the image why I picked this image is because that's where you focus your attention. Okay. And the reason we do that is that you will find that the smaller the area of the body that you're focusing on, the sharper that the attention will become. And you'll be able to now become much more sensitive and detect much more of what's actually going on in your body that you're not even aware of right now, because the mind is very dull, very weak, very scattered. The sharper, the smaller the area, the sharper the mind becomes. Okay. Other reasons why breath is very effective as a tool is that it's always present. Okay, it's always present. It is present even when you are not present. Okay, how? What do I mean? Well, even when you're sleeping, you're not even aware of the breathing. The breathing is still happening. You see, it's like with you all the time. So it's a very good companion to focus on and become acquainted with for this type of presence practice. Okay, it's also formless, so it doesn't create thoughts. You see, it's less likely to create thoughts compared to, focusing on an image or a word. You can always focus on a word or some kind of name of Allah or something like that to develop concentration. That works and it has its place. But for this purpose here, we want something formless that will not create thoughts for obvious reasons that we discussed. And it's also something universal that we all have. It's something we share in our humanity. Okay. Breath is also very interesting because it's a bridge between the physical and the subtle, the mental world. It's a bridge in the sense that it's a two-way influence that they have on each other. Okay. If you are agitated in some way, disturbed mentally by something that's happened, you will find that it's reflected in your breathing. So the mind can affect the breath. But the reverse is also true. You can learn to use the breath to calm the mind. So it's actually a very unique thing that bridges between these two worlds. And that's why it's also another effective way for us to integrate the mental and the physical dimensions of us. Okay. And then there's a beautiful other factor behind all of this is that this is a beautiful, intimate event that's happening moment by moment, where Allah is giving you something, sustaining you. It's a form of rizq that is coming to you every moment. And so how beautiful to be able to stay with and enjoy the experience of him giving you that breath every moment. I've even heard, the masters who we all learn from will say, how do you people live even a single breath without appreciating that presence of Allah with you, giving you, sustaining you every single moment? So it's an opportunity again to become more intimate and, less heedless, less ghafla, less ghafil of what's happening moment by moment. Okay. And then when it comes to the instructions of how we're going to do it, so as I said, we focus the attention in this area and we feel the sensation. Okay. Feel the sensation, the feeling of breath coming in, breath coming out. That's all. That's all. Nothing else. You're not visualizing. The mind has nothing to do with it. The eyes have nothing to do with it. You close your eyes, you relax the eyes. Don't allow the eyes to visualize your nose. It's got nothing to do with it. Blank. Just shift the attention to the body, this part of the body, and just stay there. And be very precise, very, very precise. It's a very small area, and you keep your attention there. Now, of course, after after just a few seconds, okay, after just a few seconds, your mind will be gone somewhere, right? You will have some kind of stream of thoughts that has carried you to another world and another time. And so the distractions will only get magnified when you see it, when you try to do this, okay? And so all you have to do is the moment you notice that you have, your mind has wandered away, just notice it. Don't get frustrated. Don't get angry by it. Just notice it and bring it right back to where it is. Okay, back to that area, back to the sensation. And that's all the practice is just bringing it back and anchoring yourself in that place continuously, moment by moment, day after day, minute by minute. Okay. And how long do you do this? I recommend starting with maybe 15 or 20 minutes. If you're new to this practice, you'll find that it is very difficult. It's very difficult. Even if you've been doing it for a long time, I think you'll find it's difficult. The mind carries you away. The mind carries you away. And there's a lot to actually learn from even just that. Okay, even that wandering itself is going to be very revealing as you become more acquainted with yourself. You're learning more about yourself and gaining mastery over yourself, all of you, not just your mind, not just your body, all of it. The breath will reveal to you the condition of your mind. Okay, what kind of a mind are you carrying? What kind of a mind are you living with? What is your internal world like? What condition is it in? I think you'll find I have a way of describing my mind, which I think you might all relate to. You know what I compare it to? I compare it to, when you go to a kid's birthday party. Okay. Okay, a birthday party for a 6-year-old. Okay, you walk into the room, okay, and what do you experience in this room? Is complete chaos, right? Is kids running around, shouting and crying and laughing and loud music and cake on the floor, and a clown is making noises. And that's what's going on inside you. And that's exactly what you will feel your mind is the moment you try to concentrate. Oh my God, it's just chaos. So this is actually very valuable to see. Okay, you will be almost dismayed, like, oh my God, I can't, this is impossible. It's impossible to fix this. That's not the case. Don't allow the mind to tell you anything else. It is entirely achievable. It just requires commitment, practice, and this is where you will prove yourself. This is where the battle is taking place, for you to cleanse all of this garbage out of your mind, okay? So the way I try to tell myself is to encourage myself, is to say, look at this birthday party going on in your mind. Look at the state of this room. Even when the kids leave the party, just look at the room and what state it's in, okay? And now you're telling me you're going to stand up and do salah and expect Allah to come and to meet you in this room. And you're surprised that he doesn't come. And you're surprised that this chaos is preventing you from having the experience that you're looking for, okay? I'll say something even maybe a little bit strong. I hope you'll understand it in the right way. After years and years of doing salah, siyam, reading Quran, reading tafsir, doing dua, going on Hajj, going on Umrah, going on Ziyarah, all these things we do, all of which are beautiful things to do. And we should do as much as we can. But has any of those things changed that inner condition? They haven't. They have not changed anything within you in that way. And the reason is because they are not intended for that purpose on their own. They have other benefits, other objectives that they are trying to achieve. They are not, this is my message, they are not a substitute for this inner work that you have to do. They are not a substitute. You're not going to solve the root of the problem within you with more salah, or let's go on Umrah again. It doesn't work because I hope you're starting to see, if this is the condition that's going on, then those things are not going to fix the problem. The problem will be fixed by cleansing the concentration, by going through this type of inner practice. Okay, so this bodily attention, now we've learned breath meditation as another way. These are the techniques that we need to do on top of all of those beautiful spiritual practices that we've learned and we should continue to do. We need to add this type of inner work to enhance what everything else will deliver and to solve the problem at its root. Okay, so that's the main thing that I wanted to communicate about the breath meditation itself. The other practice that I'll describe, okay, and this will be, let me just pull this up for you also. Okay, hopefully you can see this slide now. This is now the second practice. Okay, so we're covering a lot because I want to give you the information, and then you can start to work on these, and we'll discuss them in more detail as we go forwards, and we can share our experience with these things as well. But let's actually cover that, because this is the remaining practice that we will talk about in this training phase of Salat. Okay, and what it's called is body scan. Okay, so now this is not really different from the bodily attention that we explored last session. It's not different. Okay, that one was a more general, just exploring, feeling the hand, feeling the feet, doing it with eyes open. It gives you a general sense of bodily attention, and that's something that you can do anywhere all the time. So that's what we talked about. What we do here with body scan now is really to go deeper into that practice, okay? Because we want to deepen that attention and develop its depth, okay? And so the objective here is to become connected with the entire body, okay? Every inch, every part of your body needs to become integrated into your awareness. And that's one of the things that we do through this body scan. The other is that by doing this regularly in the way that I'll describe it, what we do is that you actually deepen a kind of a connection between the attention and the body on an ongoing basis. It's almost like a physical way to understand it, is that the nerve cells are getting connected to the brain cells. You're actually creating a channel of communication from between the body and the mind, because it's lost right now. Those nerves are not talking to each other. That's why you don't feel it, your body so clearly. You'll see what I mean. But basically, we're re-establishing the connection between the mind and the body, every part of the body. And this practice will help us develop the ability to direct and to move the attention wherever we want it under our control. you'll find at the beginning, you don't have the ability to control it, to tell it, go here, go here. You'll find it's difficult for you to, and you'll see what I mean when we do it together. But you'll develop a mastery, an ability to direct the attention wherever you want it and to hold it, okay? And in the same way that I said you develop the sensitivity of attention with the breath practice, we'll do the same, but now with the whole body. Every single part of the body, you will become much more sensitive to, okay? And it's a beautiful experience. When I did this, it felt like your body, the entire body is coming alive, and you will feel a sense of heightened presence and awakeness, alertness, aliveness that you've not felt before. It's beautiful and really worth doing. So how do we do it? Very simply, we start at the top of the head, okay? So the top of your head, you direct your attention in the same way that we said before. You're not visualizing, you're not using your eyes, you're just moving your attention, and you move the attention to the top of your head. It's called the crown of the head, okay? You move your attention there, to that spot, okay? And you hold it there and try to feel the top of your head. Already, you'll see that, I feel it, but it's not very clear. Probably, when we did the hand experiment, right? Focusing the attention on the hand, you probably feel your hand a bit more easily, more clearly compared to now when you shift your attention to the top of your head, okay? This is what I mean by the different levels of sensitivity that you don't have right now and that we need to develop over time, okay? So you start at the top of the head, and basically, very simply, you move the attention downwards through the body, right? Part by part, slowly, slowly, you move. And you move a little bit, you pause there, and you just pause and feel that part of your body, okay? That's all it is, just feel it. Now, you can do this in different levels. You can take big chunks, like your whole head, focus on the whole head, the whole arm, the whole chest, the whole leg, then the whole foot. You can move in big chunks like that, cycling from head to foot, head to foot. But as we get better and more advanced at this, what we learn to do is that you will move inch by inch. You will move inch by inch. It will take you hours to do, in fact. And that's what I've experienced personally, is that you sit there and literally cover your body inch by inch, pausing and seeing what you can sense, what are the sensations right here, and then the next, and then the next. And you'll be amazed at how precise you can become in directing your attention. Okay, so that's the basic of how you do it. You just cycle through from head to foot, from head to feet, and then start back again at the head and move back through the feet. And basically that's how that practice is done. Okay, that's why it's called body scan. You're scanning your whole body and you're shifting your attention progressively through the whole body. Okay, so I hope with that you first understand why we're doing it. I've repeated it many times. I won't again, but it really is important. It's a secret of success for everything. And now you've got some very specific instructions, very specific exercises to do to develop these skills, and just be amazed. Enjoy the process of learning how to do this. At the beginning, for example, you will find it quite difficult to say, if I tell you, move your attention to your left foot and specifically to your big toe. Okay, can you feel your big toe? And you may say, kind of, yeah. All right. How about your small toe, the pinky toe? Can you feel that? How easily can you feel it? How clear is it to you? Now I want you to move it from your toe to your stomach. Now shift it to your stomach. Now shift it to your right ear. Now shift it to your nose. You see, you'll find it's difficult to move your attention wherever you want to and feel it with the same clarity. Okay, so this is what I mean, that don't underestimate this. There's a lot of work to be done to develop this ability to move your attention, to feel every part with clarity, precision. There's a lot of work to be done, but the more you do it, the more you will see the results, I mean. Because just even if you set yourself some time and say, okay, I'm going to sit for 20 minutes and I'm just going to do this body scan, okay? What you'll find is if you do it with your full heart, yani, throw yourself into it, do it with full energy, full attention, really do it, work hard at it. What you'll find is even just doing this, your mind will become silent. Okay? Because you will notice that you cannot do it and keep thinking. It's impossible. So the more you practice it, the more the mind learns to go quiet, because you're not paying attention to the thoughts. You're paying attention somewhere else. Okay? So notice at the end of your practice, notice the condition of your mind. You will see that a beautiful silence has filled your mind by the end of that practice, and you'll begin to see, okay, if I really develop this, then I am bringing this consciousness into balance so that it's not overwhelmed by the thinking mind. Okay. All right, everyone. So thank you for listening. I ran up maybe a little bit over time, but inshallah that was beneficial, and I look forward to us discussing and hearing your personal experiences with all of this.